A Tale of Two Betrayals, How a Student's Murder and a Secret War on Campus Reveal the Same Pattern of Rot in Athens, Georgia, by Brandon O'Ryans. On January 28th, 2025, I walked into the office of Lindsay Reed, the Vice President of Student Affairs at Athens Technical College, and made a simple human request. I asked him to be my mentor. As a 39-year-old man who had recently lost his father, I was seeking guidance as a successful student. I was seeking a professional role model to show my trust. I followed up by emailing him an article I had written, quote, "Educated into Ignorance," close quote, offering him a window into my mind and my journey. It was a gesture of profound vulnerability. 16 days later, that trust was not just broken, it was used as a weapon against me. This is the story of that betrayal. It is a story that runs a parallel to a more public tragedy, the murder of Laken Riley, and reveals what I have come to believe is the same pattern of institutional rot, a grotesque gap between public performance and private action that infects Athens from the mayor's office to the administrative suite of a local college. This is the story of how the very man I asked for mentorship appears to have orchestrated a cold, calculated campaign to destroy my academic career, a campaign enmeshed in a web of political influence connecting figures like Georgia GOP Chairman Josh McCoon and my own uncle, Randy Huff, to a massive Ponzi scheme that has rocked the state of Georgia. The public timeline, a sanctuary of performative compassion. In the spring of 2024, in the aftermath of Laken Riley's murder, Mayor Kelly Gertz's administration put on a masterclass in public relations. He cautioned against conflating crime and immigration and spoke of dignifying, quote, everybody's humanity, close quote. It was a narrative of calm and empathy designed to placate and manage public perception. Just a few months later, in November, I would see this performance up close. Mayor Kelly Gertz sat behind me as a co-host for a, quote, tell your DEI story, close quote, event, where I won an award for my story of overcoming adversity. He never said a single word to me. He was there for the image, not for the people. His presence was a symbol empty of substance. The private timeline, a premeditated ambush. While the city was wrapped in this public display of carefully curated compassion, a more sinister story was unfolding in private. On February 13th, 2025, a date that is now the 6-month anniversary of this declaration of war, I was summoned by Reed's administrative assistant to a meeting that I can only describe as an ambush. I walked into a 90-minute interrogation with the man I had asked to be my mentor and his chief of police. There was no supportive inquiry, no attempt at understanding. There was only intimidation. I was confronted with vague, unsubstantiated allegations from unnamed faculty based on these phantoms. Chief Gaysert lectured me on felony stalking statutes and how my legally owned firearms could be confiscated. The meeting's entire premise, as I experienced it, was based on the Orwellian principle that, quote, perception is reality, close quote, a clear signal that the objective facts of my conduct were irrelevant. It is my firm belief, based on the mountain of evidence that followed, that Mr. Reed, who had previously nominated me for the Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society, later denied having done so in a meeting with my family to cover his tracks. His actions lead me to the inescapable conclusion that this attack was not a misunderstanding. It was planned with cold, calculated forethought. The DARVO campaign and the climate of fear. What followed was a textbook campaign of institutional betrayal and DARVO, deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender, a manipulative tactic used by abusers to deflect blame. The institution I had trusted became my assailant. My 3 emails seeking clarity were met with 2 months of documented silence. After I filed a formal grievance, the college retaliated me, banning me from campus based on a secret, quote, sworn statement, close quote, I have never been allowed to see. My appeal was, predictably, denied. When I made my unanswered emails public, VP S.A. Reed accused me of doxing and slander, perfectly reversing the roles of victim and offender. This campaign of intimidation was brutally effective, creating what I can only describe as a climate of fear that silenced my staunchest allies within the school. Faculty and staff who had previously been my biggest supporters, documented in emails and letters of recommendation, were suddenly rendered mute. Their silence is not a condemnation of them. It is a testament to the toxic, coercive environment the administration has fostered. This is not just my story, it is a warning. The man who sat silently behind me at a DEI event and the man who appears to have betrayed my trust are 2 sides of the same corrupt coin. They represent a system where, in my experience, shiny words are used to mask a culture of cowardice and where the mechanisms of, quote, safety, close quote, have become the very weapons used to crush dissent and protect the powerful. The rot is deep, the corruption is real, and the deconstruction begins now. Thank you for reading, listening, and or watching. Quote, I have sworn upon the altar of God eternal hostility against every form of tyranny over the mind of man. Close quote, Thomas Jefferson. Thanks again. Have a blessed day.